They want to modify mosquitoes so that they cannot transmit malaria. Who are you if you've got a different head on a different body? I've been watching this, Black Mirror. It's really scary. Even Interstellar was great. I loved it.
Yes, yes.
But I thought it was so depressing that you mess up your own planet and then you go off somewhere else. But, I don't feel like because I'm a biologist, I should not know about Elon Musk. Is it actually better to be alive than dead? Purpose is not to play God, it's to be a better doctor. I mean, the only place this could have been done, oh, how sad, we are back to China. There's a lot of freaky stuff out there.
So coming to biotechnology, we read something about CRISPR. So I just want to know that what is CRISPR, how does it work, and to what degree should we extend it, and can we extend it?
Right. So CRISPR is Nobel Prize winning discovery. So CRISPR has got Nobel Prize for chemistry last year.
Yeah.
And very deservedly so. So what it does, so if you remember, we said that even the virus is evolving its genome. It makes little changes here and makes one mistake is helpful. So what happens with evolution? It's all trial and error. So some mistake happened in the replication, and then some mutation might be beneficial, it may not be, or it might be harmful. And then that all, it's being tested as the organism is sort of faced with all the, environmental stresses or the host or whatever. So what CRISPR does is you can go and make very specific changes in your genome of any organism actually. So you don't have to do some random thing and hope for and see which one works for you. You say, okay, I know that if I make this alteration in my genome, I will be able to infect human respiratory cells better. So if the virus said, I'm going to make this change and I'm going to infect them better. So I'll give you an example of this, right? So actually CRISPR is being used in many technologies. So what is CRISPR? It's actually, it was discovered as a bacterial, in bacteria, they use this CRISPR Cas9 proteins to actually, cut the genomes of viruses which invade them.
Okay.
So it was discovered in some bacteria somewhere. Nobody cared much, but then wow, look at where we are today, right? So that was actually modified. That ability of these enzymes to recognize very specific DNA sequences and cut them was modified to say, let's cut them and let's put some new DNA there, or let's make a change over there, or let's remove some of that DNA over there. So that was all done by humans. So the basic CRISPR is used by bacteria, and then humans came in and modified it and did all sorts of things so that we can manipulate the genome in our own fashion.
Yeah.
So this is being used by so many people, and I will tell you the places where it's actually being used, even in terms of biotechnology. So it's being used to change some genes in crops. So that a particular gene, if you make some alteration in it, it will give you a crop which is resistant to drought, for example, or high saline levels or whatever. You can actually go in and you can just very efficiently and purposefully, you can go and change things in those genomes. There, in my field, there's this, it's still in early days, but they want to modify mosquitoes so that they cannot transmit malaria.
Oh.
So they want to use CRISPR to sort of, drive these alterations in the genome of wild populations of mosquitoes. So there's a lot of potential for this. And I know even in India, so the Tata Group has given a lot of money to this center called Tata Institute for Genetics and Society. It's in Bangalore. And they are trying to find, use things like CRISPR to see if you can actually very quickly alter plants, mosquitoes, whatever it is, and make some impact on human development. So it's very powerful technology, very powerful.
Wow.
But what's the next question? So where does it stop?
Yeah, where should it stop?
Where should it stop? So, I think you must have read about it. There's some scientist in China. He is doing CRISPR modification of human genomes. Yeah. So that's where we can talk about ethics later, but
Cool.
it's like any other technology. There has to be some regulation of it. And so that's something which scientists are thinking about all the time.
Yeah. So this way, we are like editing genes and transforming ourselves or maybe plants or any other thing in maybe genetically only. Like we are in the sphere of biological world only. But when we add extensions to our body, let's say technology, we know that phones are already an extension of our body. Like we can't live without our phones. It's a part of our life. Same with the headphones we are using, mics, everything. Smartwatches. So we are kind of incorporating technology within ourselves, and how far we are from infusing it inside our body, like incorporating technology into us so that we become more efficient. And I've read about bionic eyes, artificial heart, and all this stuff already exists. So to what level we are right now and how far it can get.
Correct. So, this is all in the realm of biomedical engineering, right? So if you see, in IIT and BSB, we are biosciences where people will do all the CRISPR kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And we are also bioengineering where they do all this kind of stuff, right? So, you're right. Actually, transplants have been going on for decades.
Yeah.
Right? We are putting stents, we are putting pacemakers. It's been going on for the longest time. So if you see nowadays, there's also a lot of cool, biomedical devices where they will, maybe implant, for example, insulin monitor, which will check your insulin levels and immediately release if you need it. So you don't have to go on giving yourself injections. Then, there's these like the skin, there's like a skin which will actually detect, whether, what is your temperature. And so there's a lot of very, very interesting biomedical applications going on. So, this is where, when you sent me your questions, I actually looked up a little bit about ethics because I'm not an expert on ethics at all, on biomedical ethics. I'm an expert on my own ethics. I mean, I have my own idea of what is ethics, but I don't know exactly what is bioethics for biomedical and biosciences research. So there, I got the feel that they are saying that if it's for disease, so if the person is not well and you're trying to intervene to save the person's life or to give them a better quality of life, then it's still okay. But anything outside that, if it's for fun, if it's for trying to, make yourself more, strong, or you give yourself blonde hair or whatever, that is all not yet. I mean, that is very clearly not allowed. So it's all actually still in the realm of how how would a doctor treat you?
Yeah.
Right. So that's where the ethics of the biological sciences is at today. So we are still saying, treatment, illness, saving lives. So that's where all, these patches for insulin, that's fine. It fits perfectly into that.
Yeah.
But other examples, I don't know, guys. Have you seen other examples? Again, there are many weird Hollywood movies, right? Have you seen any Hollywood movies where you got some bizarre example which made no sense of like these biomedical devices? I've been watching this, Black Mirror. It's really scary. Have you watched Black Mirror?
Yeah, I haven't. I guess I've watched the first episode, but I don't.
It's very creepy. Actually, a bit disturbing.
It's all about the future, right?
Yeah. And then they'll do lots of things like what you said. They'll put people's, sort of thoughts into
I saw that game, Cyberpunk 2077. Like it is all about this only. Like humans have accepted themselves to convert themselves into cyborgs, and they are like just a cable comes from their hand and they connect it to the laptop, and they get all the data inside.
Exactly. So
I had seen one documentary on Discovery as well, wherein they told that in some time, like there was they had a hypothetical man who was supposed to live some 400-500 years, and he was just replacing his memory, like hard disk was getting full, so he was just replacing it, and then he was reviewing his old days. So it was pretty creepy as well.
Yeah, they're really creepy. So, actually, so what I was reading also, just it was very interesting. So thanks for sending me that question, because it gave me the chance to read a little bit. So one thing was obviously medical thing, medical intervention. But the other thing they said when they talk of ethics and, sort of biological research is life and death.
Yeah.
And there it was a very interesting question that they were saying that people are still, that many scientists who are working on these ethics issues, they are asking, is it actually better to be alive than dead? Is it better to be alive, right? Because even on that Black Mirror, there was one episode where some lady was in a coma and she wanted to download her memories on some video game somewhere, right? It was like whatever. So I think they are also debating that, is there something so great about being alive? In whatever strange form, right? So I thought this was also a very interesting concept, that it may not be so great just to be alive and in some weird
Yeah. Also,
right?
there's
So actually,
this philosophy. Yeah.
Continue, go on.
Continue.
No, go on.
No, also there's this philosophical dilemma, like we humans are trying to play God right now. So there's this term that all the philosophers from the time of Confucius, they have been using this term. Like we humans always try to play God, and that's why we are trying to just improvise ourselves for no reason. Like this might be the reason why we can become the more intelligent species, or evolution of our species might become this way only. We evolve ourselves that way.
In a technological way.
Yeah, in a technological way.
Yeah, definitely with technology. So I think that so whenever I read the sort of the biology research angle of this, it's very clear that if you're trying to cure people, to alleviate suffering, that's all okay. So that's where all our medical devices and all that stuff, it still seems that okay, so the purpose is not to play God, it's to be a better doctor. Right, because you're trying to help your patient to for whatever is the problem. But this life and death business, I thought that was very interesting, because see there, and again, so where so when we talk about this euthanasia, for example, right? When you say euthanasia, it's the right of the patient to say, I don't want to live anymore. Right. So, I think the ethics part is it's quite fascinating. And I am very confident that the rate at which biological and biomedical engineering research is progressing, we will have to think of these issues very seriously now.
I heard of some really disturbing stuff, like in the future, we might have designer babies. Like, consider I am a parent and I want a baby, so I can design the baby. Like, I can think of him having intelligence, great muscles, let's say, like I can completely design him, but that will totally be against the human nature. Like, we are human, we are this way only, we are known for being human beings because we are different. But this way we will just I guess we will give rise to a completely new species, right?
Yeah, so I think even there, I think there's a stop on this kind of stuff, right? Because there's no medical purpose for this. It's just some, I think I should have green eyes or whatever, right? So if you see today, all this stuff is not ethical. It is actually not allowed. It's banned. In fact, to the extent that even doing CRISPR of human embryos was a huge problem. And the only place this could have been done, oh, how sad, we are back to China. Because, I think they have regulatory, systems in place, but people do a little bit of rogue stuff, a little bit. I mean, who knows? Maybe, I shouldn't make this comment about China all the time, but it did happen in China, actually.
Yeah. He was present for 3 years, right? He was given that sentence.
I think so. And so that kind of stuff today is not ethical. You're not allowed to do those kind of things with human embryos. It's not allowed. It's absolutely not allowed. But I like any other technology, like the bomb and so many technologies, the potential for dangerous things is very high, and as a race we
Yeah.
have to think very carefully about that. So I
There's
think as of
this.
today it's stuck on medical
Okay.
intervention.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go
Mhm.
on.
There's this movie called The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless
Sunshine of
Mind.
Spotless Mind.
Yeah,
You
I've
have you
seen
watched?
that.
Yeah.
I've seen that. Good
So
one.
so it takes it to a capitalistic view where there is a company that does
Yeah,
that and that's a doctor. So they do that memory thing.
exactly. They're actually erasing memory so that
Yeah.
you can get on with your life
Yeah.
or whatever it is. So
Yeah.
no, there's a lot of freaky stuff out there. Lot of freaky stuff. So one of your other questions was about head transplants,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's come to that.
right?
Let's come to that.
So that's another bizarre one, isn't it? So
Yeah.
I don't. Is it actually successful?
No, it's never been done. Like there are,
Not
I
done.
guess, not done till 2021.
Even I do, because I quickly checked and they said that somebody had put a head from one cadaver to the other because
Hmm.
it's very complex surgery.
Hmm.
So this is full of ethical issues. So
Yeah.
they said,
Hmm.
first of all, this can only be done if you're trying to save someone's life.
Hmm.
Like why would you transplant a head or the
Yeah.
it just makes no sense. Only if
Yeah.
you have got some life-saving angle to it.
Hmm.
And then they had some very cool questions. They were like, okay, if your body is so the first question was what makes you you.
Yeah.
So as a biologist, I'll say maybe it's your genome. Right? You have your very
Oh.
unique
Yes.
genome.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
It's
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
ID. It's
Exactly.
your ID card, and that's what makes you you. So then you put some one body on some other head, then which is which is the ID card, right? So
Yeah.
the body's genome is different. So they said there are many issues of identity, like who are you if you've got a different head on a different body, even if you
Yeah.
take some biological method of identification. Then they were saying that so actually what, so just a pure biology, they said it's just very hard because you have to do so much immunosuppression.
Yeah.
So you have to keep pumping the body with these immunosuppressants. So it basically it was like I got the feel that it's not easy, and it doesn't seem to have that payoff that one would be looking for. It's just some
Yeah.
bizarre Hollywood type of thing. So
But
I'm
if we
not sure
can
why they do it.
try to explore like this question, who's who? Like, what's your identity then? Because the body has a memory. The genetic code is made from your body, but now you have a different brain completely.
Yeah,
You look differently. So what would happen?
I agree. I think it would be extremely confusing. So, honestly, I mean, I don't even want to think about it because I
Yeah.
don't think that they're going to go down that road easily.
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure that that is something that will not be like, okay, let's give it let's do it and see what happens. I think
Hmm.
there's no real benefit for doing that in terms of medical outcome.
Yeah.
I think some people are doing some strange things and they're getting into trouble for it.
But again,
So
it's a crazy world.
yeah, it's
Anything.
very. So,
But
in fact, going back to the coronavirus, the same things which help us to get those vaccines are the same things which can be used for all these bizarre,
yeah.
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So it's all part of the same game.
Yeah. But coming to that ethical question again, biotechnology promises a disease-free world in the future. Like they by CRISPR or stuff like that, they tend to promise a disease-free world. So there might be a possibility that humans will accept this, that they will be like, "ठीक है, चाहिए disease-free world चाहिए," and then there will be just no stopping.
So,
They will just keep selling one more stuff. So do you imagine a disease-free world like?
no, not at all. See, because, so cancer is a tough one.
Yeah.
It's a really tough one. So I think despite so many best efforts, there's a handful of cancers which can actually be treated very well. The rest of them, very difficult. So, it's not, I mean, that is one disease which has not been easy to crack at all. Now we've talked
Okay.
about viruses. Now, you must have read about multi-drug and, extremely drug-resistant bacteria. So
Hmm.
TB,
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
XRD TB, it's resistant to every drug,
Yeah.
every single drug. And these are all pathogens coming from outside, and they are playing their own game with us, right? They are trying to evolve, and they are evolving anyway. So I don't think we are going to live in a disease-free world at all. I don't believe it. I think that what has biotechnology done is that it has actually given us a much better ability to handle diseases that we know, that we understand, and it helps us to give a better quality of life.
Yeah.
Right, but I don't think it's disease-free at all in my opinion. I think it's more of a disease management situation, which we have been able to do better for many diseases, but it's not disease-free. What do you think?
Okay.
I don't think it's going to be disease-free at all.
Maybe we'll make our lives easier. That's the goal. Just.
I think so. I think so. And even things like aging, so
Yeah,
now we
yeah.
know that lifespan has gone up a lot. And that's because of, health and good eating and nutrition and exercise and all those things. But even there, if you see, the longer you live, then you have other problems. You have some
Yeah.
Alzheimer's and this and that. Right?
Yeah.
So there's always a trade-off. It's not utopia. I think that biotechnology helps us to manage things, and sort of diseases that we understand well. Many things we don't understand very well.
Yeah.
So those are out of the picture.
Maybe in terms of like rocket science and all, we kind of share an ultimate goal that we have to become an intergalactic civilization, or we have to go to Mars and other planets and expand our civilization. So in terms of biotech, where do we align? Where do we want to go? Is it this aging thing? Like not
No,
aging?
I don't think we have one goal, right? Because biology is so complex, there's so much going on that, if we just say aging, then that's like only one thing.
Yeah.
So I don't think so. I think that, if you ask me, I think that biology and biotechnology would like to be able to quickly handle new challenges. I feel that's where we are. And the challenge could be anything. So it could be health, so you have vaccines. It could be crops, so you're trying to do, to get better crops. There's a whole range of human behavior where we could, handle crises with biotechnology. So I think that's where it is, that it's able to give you a solution in a decent time frame to some of the crises that we face. That's what I would say. Because aging, I know some people think it's some grand goal of living forever, but I don't think that's what most biologists think is the great utopia. I don't think so. But is it true that for aerospace, the sort of the goal is to be able to escape the Earth's
It's not
gravity?
the goal, but kind of it's the grand vision put forward by a
we
lot
as
of
a
people.
civilization want to harness what's outside us.
Out there.
Yeah. And with all this Elon Musk thing going on, where
Elon Musk is full on. He's really into this.
Yeah.
But I actually, and again, so going back to the Hollywood movie, so even Interstellar was great. I loved it.
Yes.
But I thought it was so depressing that you mess up your own planet and then you go off somewhere else. I was like, what is this crap?
Yeah.
I mean, not the movie. I thought it was a really sad, way of
that's where
species.
humanity is headed to right now, like the way we are right now. Also, we are not thinking of improving our own planet. We are just thinking of colonizing Mars. That's what was shown in the movie as well.